Welcome to episode Ovechkin of the Unfortunate Diehards podcast. So number 8, welcome back. Thank you for tuning in. We have a lot to talk about because we pre-recorded some episodes. So we have a lot of signings, some retirements, preseason to talk about. And then we are actually previewing our Metro and Central Division rankings and ending with a head-to-head. And biggest of all, we have a big interview to tease as well. We finally got a big fish. Well, we have a big fish. Bigger
Huge fish now.
Yes. So, Omar to my left, Sufi to my right. Say hello.
I was waiting for Sufi's hello.
I will be on. I'm gonna just keep my Twitter open because of the Robertson DeBrincat stuff, in case something happens. Because everyone's posting eyes and stuff. So maybe
then we
something
can break
happens.
it first when this episode comes out next week.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we can talk about it anyway, but
yeah. So, first thing I'd like to get into is, let's go with the biggest contract in NHL history. Nathan McKinnon signed an 8-year extension with the Colorado Avalanche that kicks in next season, not this coming season, at $12.6 million a year, which is the highest paid player ever by $100,000 over Connor McDavid. So I would like to ask you guys, what are your thoughts on that contract? Do you think he's worth it? Do you think he'll play up to that dollar value throughout the contract? And does it make sense for Colorado to sign someone for that long?
Yeah, yes and yes. I mean, the number just makes sense because, like, it is kind of petty that he did $100,000 more than McDavid. But McDavid also signed his contract like 4 or 5 years ago now. So when McDavid gets signed, it's probably going to be one of those full-on max contracts that they're talking about, which apparently Matthews is going to get now too. Like I heard, I saw something on Twitter that was like, or Frank Saravelli was like doing his bold predictions, and he was like, they're going to extend Matthews for 8 times $16.7 million in Toronto. I'm like, okay. So they're just getting rid of like half their teams to do that. But no, he's good. Like 27, 8 years. He's like, I wouldn't be. He might be a little worse at 36 or 5 or whatever, but I don't see him being that
36 or 5.
35.
35. He'll be 35.
Yeah, my dad's not an accountant. But yeah, no. And the thing is, he's been making such little money compared to his value for so long. He's very deserving of this now.
I mean, it's the most obvious contract. Prices are going up. If you have Matthews making 11, if you have McDavid making 12, McKinnon coming in at 12 as well, it's like that's where the market's heading. So at his age, at his skill, it's not surprising. He's 27, 8-year contract. Yeah.
You can also thank Makar for basically signing a bargain contract, so that, well, not so that he can do this, but it also enabled them to sign him for more, because Makar should be making more than he is.
But you're looking at you're looking at least 6 of these 8 years at McKinnon being great still, I think.
Yeah.
And at 34, 35, I don't see him, faltering.
Just going lower and lower. He has one more year at 6.3.
Oh, true. So it'd be 36.
Okay, it'll be 36. But yeah,
This is a player of that caliber.
It's a no-brainer. Yeah.
It's hard to say anything bad about this contract because it kind of just needed to happen. So I think everyone was kind of just like, okay, he was making 6.3 for playing like a $12 million player already. So
yeah, right. Precedents get set with contracts. So if McDavid signed today, it'll be more than 12.6 mil.
So we'll go down to the slightly less expensive contract. Matthew Barzal also got an 8-year extension with the New York Islanders. I think coming in at 9.12, if I'm not incorrect. We'll go to Omar first. What are your thoughts on that extension with the Islanders?
Don't look at his numbers. I'm just kidding. You can look at his numbers.
I don't mind it. It's like I don't mind it in terms of the length of it. What was it? 8 years? I don't mind the length of it because he's 25. 9.125.
Just 1.2, I think.
9.12. Yeah, I don't mind it. I don't think like what. It's where the market is. I don't know if you can say it's not where the market is.
For a 60-point player.
For an 85-point player. No, but I think he will evidently play into this contract. I think
He's 25 though.
he's shown that he's been able to score at a very high rate, and having the most defensive system and second liners throughout the team may have not have helped him. So I think this year you could definitely see him boost a lot of those numbers. I think it makes sense. Like, he's more established than people who are getting 8 or 8.5 right now. So to make it slightly above that,
That's what I mean.
It's
It's
safer, so you bump the money up a little bit.
I mean, Phil Kessel is at 8 million, guys.
No, I don't know. I'm not convinced on this deal. He's a very skilled player, and I think he maybe got faltered by a defensive system, but I don't see him playing at that level anytime soon. This is still like a...
Anytime soon. So you say you could see it when he's 30 instead of when he's 20.
I mean,
I don't think I can see it at all.
I mean, shortened season, 45 points in 55 games. It's not too bad.
Imagine him having the reins to kind of do what he wants now.
Yeah,
Hopefully.
the year
It's not
before
even
60
that,
and
though.
68.
But that's the thing. They do what he wants, yes, but if he's... It's not like he was a good defensive player in the defensive system either. So now you're going to give him free reins to do everything offensively, and how bad is that going to impact his already not great defense? So
he's
you're paying...
hopefully
You're
going to be
paying,
playing with people who are above average defensively.
But I don't even know about that. But you're still paying $9 million for someone that's not good defensively, and we don't really know what his offensive potential is, and he's already 25. So I'm just like, I don't know if I can trust that he's going to become someone that's worth $9 million a year.
Okay, so you led with not great defensively. So if you had a forward who was very good defensively and not very good offensively, you'd rather them get this contract than him?
I don't think either of those should get that contract. I'm just saying that he's not worth even $9 million if he, just based on his offense, where there's players that are worth $9 million just based on their offensive talents.
I think there's a pretty good chance that he plays into this offensively.
I guess we'll see. I have no doubt on the skill level he has, and he has at least a few times a year where you're like, this guy's insane, but then you look at his numbers and you're like, eh. But I understand the defensive system and stuff like that, but I don't think that's the reason that he dropped from 85 points to 60 from his rookie year to his second year. I think it's more so because he went from playing behind Tavares to getting first line minutes and getting the toughest matchups and stuff like that. So if it isn't because of the tough matchups thing and he's just being hindered by a defensive system, then I guess we'll see next year what it actually was.
I mean, he has 362 games played and 311 points.
But who gets paid $9 million?
He also had 60 points in 68 games.
Who gets paid $9 million? Do 70-point players, 65-point players get paid $9 million?
Probably.
That are actually worth it.
That are being I'm saying it's where the market is. I'm saying another player in his position would get that right now as well.
But that's my thing, though. I don't know if I trust his position. I don't rate him as highly as you guys do. Maybe that's the only reason why.
No, but another player
for me,
who's playing at the same caliber. If you put a 60-point player right now, or what's he at? Yeah, I don't know, let's say hovering between 60 and 70.
Like a 65, 70.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
You take that player right now, where the market is, he's probably making $9 million.
With the negative defensive impacts. 65 to 70-point player. So we're talking Nylander?
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah.
So Nylander would be a $9 million player?
He's a free agent, probably. And maybe they overpaid to keep him there. Maybe they didn't want to extend, but they gave him the bag.
Nylander right now, as a free agent, yeah, he'd fetch $9 million.
Okay, agree to disagree.
You don't think someone in the NHL would offer
If
him
someone
$9
would pay
million?
it, if someone's willing to pay him $9 million, then I could see Nylander getting $9 million.
Yeah.
So I guess it's fair.
The
To be
point
fair,
of this,
like there is, maybe it's harder to keep players on that team too. Like it's been a thing where they haven't been able to keep high caliber players. So if they had to overpay like Ottawa with Brady Tkachuk, then I can understand it. And realistically, I probably wouldn't give him that much less of a contract. I think for me it would just be like an 8x8 kind of thing. So it's not that much lower.
yeah.
I think too, if you look like how when they have made runs, he's contributed pretty well in the playoffs as well. And I think, like this is someone who, yeah, still young enough and can work on aspects of their game. But I don't think many 25-year-old players have a complete game. So I think in the next 3 years will probably be his best NHL seasons, in my opinion.
Yeah, he's hitting his prime.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
And he's on a
That's
team
all.
that's transitioning a little bit here. New coaching
Transitioning to
coming
what,
in.
though?
I mean-
it's the same team with a different coach. But I've
Yeah.
said this about the
you
Islanders
can say
before.
that with the Washington Capitals. They were second-round exits every year. They'd win President's trophies, but they would never do anything. Then they get Barry Trotz. Yeah, some players absolutely exploded under him, but it was just a system that worked for the team with star power that didn't play great defensively, and it worked because of them. So why couldn't a really defensive team who didn't have a lot of star power be able to score more afterwards when they don't have such a defensive system?
Because Washington wasn't bad defensively at the time. That's not where they're losing playoff series. Their
Why
whole
were
thing
they
was
losing?
secondary scoring and stuff like that. That's a completely different situation. And the thing
But
is,
the entire.
I'm not saying
Like-
it's the same situation. I'm saying it's an example of coaches
we're
or
also
coaching making a big difference in the play of players.
but we're also
St. Louis is the
assuming
biggest
that- we're also
example of
assuming
that. St.
whatever
Louis.
coach they have is going to be more offensive. Like we don't know what system that's going to be. It's going to be a different system for sure because I don't think anything's as defensively minded as Strotz. But like that whole team is built solely around defense, and then it has very few, if not like one or two, very good offensive contributors, and he's one of them. So I just don't know if that's going to be a recipe for success. I don't think it is, which is why I think most of us.
But that's not in any way arguing against Barzal's contract.
But that's what I'm saying. But I'm not saying that he shouldn't be getting a good amount of money. Like he should be getting like maybe around 8.5. But I just don't see him as being like a $9 million player.
So $600K.
Yes,
8.5
it's a big
to
difference.
9 mil.
It's a big difference.
Not even a league minimum player.
It's a big difference. The
Yeah.
cap is annoying.
That's picking at straws now.
Hey,
I
a lot of
think-
teams could use $600,000.
My team probably, yes.
I think your point was the team is built around defense, and they only have very few offensive contributors. So if they have, like you said, an offensive contributor on the team, like a significant one, and their team's already built around defense, so if he's not that good defensively, that's okay because he is one of their
Yeah.
offensive contributors. So why wouldn't they give him more money to stay because that's one of their guys that can do?
That's what I was
on the other
thinking
side.
while you were
He's
saying that.
he's not good enough himself to be the sole offensive contributor on our team.
For $600K more.
Sure. I guess it's not. We're clutching at straws here. Regardless, it is more my issues with the Islanders than Barzal himself. Because he realistically, he's a fun player to watch. So I'll give him 8.5.
All right, so we'll move on to someone who is unsigned, who probably will get, similar to Barzal, a really big payday. And we'll actually talk about his brother as well. So we'll start with Jason Robertson of the Dallas Stars, who is supposed to get a contract extension this week, allegedly. Where do we think that'll come around? Do we think he is the most important player on Dallas? And, I think with the team kind of having bad contracts in the past, the owner had talked about not wanting to go long-term with these guys, but a guy whose point per game in his first 2 seasons, it's hard to argue not giving him a similar contract to some of these other guys who signed recently. And I know Sufi loves him, so I'll let him start.
Well, for me, it's just Dallas kind of screwed themselves by waiting this long. Because there's a lot of guys that have signed after their first 2 seasons for, 8 or 7.9 to like 9 $9 million kind of thing, and they haven't had the numbers that he's put up. So if we're comparing him to Norris, Stutzel, Kachuk, a bunch of Ottawa guys, Hughes,
Barzal.
I don't know who else. Like there's a bunch of people that signed for even Sveshnikov, who got like mid sevens, early sevens. He
got the same as Suzuki, didn't he? Like 7.75 or something.
I think his was like I don't know. It was around that. So, and Suzuki as well, obviously. So all those guys had either not good or good first 2 years, and they all showed potential. He showed potential, but he also had 125 points in 128 games and 41 goals in his second season. So, in my opinion, he should be making more than those guys already, because he's already proven and he shows potential for more. The issue here is Dallas waited so long that they only have 7.8 in cap space, and that would, even if they used every single cent on him, he'd still be making less than every one of those guys except Sveshnikov. And he is better than every single one of those guys. So this becomes a thing where if Dallas doesn't want to commit long term or whatever, maybe they can sign him to like a 2x7 or something if he's willing to do that, or they have to make a trade, and then he gets what he deserves, and it's 8.5 and more.
I agree. I think he's been one of the more dynamic and exciting players that have come up in the past couple of years. I think out of all those players, I think him and Barzal are probably the most proven NHLers. I think a lot of those guys signed after 1 or 2 good seasons. Like, you could even use Tage Thompson as an example. He jumped 30 goals in one season, and then he signed a ticket, where he had back-to-back seasons, Robertson, where he was essentially point per game combined over the 2 seasons, which is phenomenal. And Barzal's put up 60-plus points for many years, where these guys are 1 or 2 years in, had probably like one pretty good season, and are extending. So I think, yeah, you're probably looking at, I mean, it's tax-free, so maybe they can get him slightly cheaper than some other places would. But yeah, I'm thinking like 8, 9, not 10, but I think could definitely be north of 8 or 9.
If they wait to sign him, like if they wait to do like a 1 year deal, and he improves on last year, then they're screwed even more. So that they need, in my opinion, they need to move something, move Hudobin, and I think they have Wedgwood there still too, so they can just keep him as your backup goalie, and then you have I think $3 million more of cap space, and then you can sign him to whatever he wants. But this owners they already have. Never mind. They have Hudobin on IR here, and they only have $7 million cap space.
I don't know. I could guess try and move
Faxa,
attempt a Seguin or Ben move, but they probably have to give up assets to get rid of them.
Bro, they have to re-sign Rope Hens next year, and he had 40 goals last year, and he plays on Robertson's line with Pavelski. Dallas is screwed.
I do agree.
One of those contracts needs to go, and it needs to be Ben, but it's more likely to be Seguin, because I think people have more faith that Seguin can return to his form, because he's shown flashes of that later in the year, and his was strictly just injury based, whereas Ben his performance literally just dropped off because he got slower. So that's why it'd be hard to trade him, but if they could get rid of Ben, that would be ideal.
Yeah, and I think something else I want to talk about was maybe something that Omar can touch on, is I was watching this preseason games between the Sens and Leafs, and Nick Robertson has looked really good, like NHL shot for sure. Do we think he squeaks in to the top 6 in Toronto this year?
I think he squeaks into the lineup at the beginning of the season. It's yet to be seen. See, Robertson has the skill He also does have he has a nice shot. And he's
Austin
speedy.
Matthews talked about his shot.
Yeah.
See that?
Oh, I didn't see that clip actually.
He said that Robertson has the hardest shot on their team.
Robertson's shot is
Matthews
nice.
said that.
Yeah, Robertson's shot is nice. It's been nice. That's one thing that's always stood out to me with him as well. And he's speedy. The one thing, and it looks like he's gotten better with that in preseason anyway, is his chaos. He's always been kind of chaos on the ice. There's not that
That's
kind of
really good descriptive word for everyone to picture in their head.
I think the noise helped.
kind of, I guess, right. He was kind of always all over the place, and what his game needed was to be settled down, a little bit more poise, a little bit more calmness in his game. When he's in situations where he doesn't need to be so aggressive, he can take more of a second, make a play more, do something, and that's why he was always missing that last cut, missing that last shot at being in the top six or staying on the team long term, is because he was missing that little bit of poise. And I think we might be seeing that this year, because that's definitely been something that's been talked about, and it's definitely been something that's been brought up to him, that you've got the skill, you've got the ability to be a top six player, but you need to hone it in and kind of settle your game down a little bit, because right now your game looks chaotic.
I think Toronto also needs him to
Toronto needs him to do good now. He's had enough years to be like, oh, this is the next guy. This is the next guy. They need him now.
It's not just him specifically. I'm saying with a team that's that much of a cap crunch, they need guys on ELCs and just players that are younger to step up.
Exactly.
Which is going to be the case in Edmonton too. With the in preseason Dylan Holloway or whatever, absolutely nuts right now. I think a hat trick the other day, and now he's playing in their top six in their line rushes and stuff. So that's another similar guy.
I don't know if Nick Robertson I see as a 40 goal scorer. I don't know, but I don't know if he's going to be like a Jason Robertson type in terms of his production. I guess it could be his shot is really good, and if his shot keeps improving,
he's just not as skilled in the playmaking sense. He could be a sniper.
Yeah, exactly.
He's also not as big, and that probably helps a little bit.
He could be like the speedy winger that scores 50, 60 points, and that would help them out.
Exactly.
Say 50 goals for a second. I was like, holy crap, neck.
Matthews thinks so.
No, I could see Robertson as a 30 goal scorer for sure.
Yeah, eventually.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah.
All right, so the last two contracts I want to touch on, I'll let Omar answer the first one, Sufi answer the second one, or what their thoughts are. So Omar, finally, a right-handed defenseman signed for you guys. That was an RFA. So Rasmus Sandin finally agreed to a
He's not right-handed,
contract.
is he?
He's lefty.
Yeah, he's left-handed.
Yeah.
Guys, leave me alone. So
that's why I was like, what did I miss? You said right-handed defenseman. And then you said
Sandin.
Rasmus Sandin, and I was like, what?
The left-handed defenseman, sorry, finally extended for, was it 1 year or 2 years? 2 years. And are you happy that he finally signed? Do you think he will be even better this year? Where do you see him fitting into the lineup?
Yeah, he'll be good. I'm happy he's signed. I think he's good back there. What do I think he'll be in? I think he's going to be tested on the right side this year, a decent chunk, to see if he can manage that position and see if he can roll with that, which I think he might be able to. I don't think he'll have it. I don't think he should have an issue there. He has good vision. He's a good power play player. I guess just work on his defensive game a bit more.
Who's better, him or Lily Grin or whatever his name is?
Oh, I don't know right now. Right now, I don't know.
That's why they were offering them the same contract.
Yeah, right now I don't know who I would say is better definitively.
They're both the same right now.
Yeah.
I think Lilligren's is right-handed.
Yeah, Lilligren's right-handed. Yeah.
If they could be a pair, that would be amazing. But I don't think that would be a great pair. But it'd be serviceable.
We need someone to be
Jarrett Hall's replacement.
Oh, yeah. But we need someone that provides this steadiness in the back end, and that's what I'm trying to see if Sandin can be a guy who can provide steadiness in the back end. I know he's got the ability to produce on the power play, to be good offensively. Those are all great. And Leafs have had defensemen like that over the years. That, oh, look, he has some offensive talent, blah, blah, blah. I want steadiness on D. And if he can develop his game to be steady on D and be on the right side, then I see an extension coming even bigger in 2 years.
So if he can just mold his game exactly how you guys want it, we love him.
But honestly, it's like that. I mean, at some point, one of these guys needs to focus solely on defense. Like our team lacks that, like to a point where we just can't get any further anywhere.
Besides Muzzin.
Yeah,
He's not. He plays like 40 games a season.
yeah, and we need that. We need that steady. We need someone steady on the back end. We need, and hopefully the Swede can do it for us.
Someone on Twitter tried to convince me that Toronto had a good defense. I just stopped answering because I think I got into I was getting into random Twitter arguments. I got into a Matt Murray, Samsonov argument because
Hey, Matt Murray had a good game the other night. Eh?
Yeah, there was Leafs fans went absolutely nuts after that. Oh my god.
Yeah, man.
And then the last one, I was going to bring up one of Sufi's 18 favorite teams. Finally signed a first round pick of theirs, I believe, Logan Mailloux, to an ELC. Do you think that that was the right move? Do you think,
Touchy subject.
Would you forgive him? What's kind of your feelings around that sort of signing?
It's not my job to forgive him. I don't think it's anyone that is forming an opinion on this in terms of how they feel about the situation is purely just opinions. Like,
wait, can we go back for a second? What situation?
Mailloux, there was something with
because his name is sounding very familiar and some controversy to me.
Yeah, so there was this in when he was in Europe, there was some he had a
I'll say it. So Logan had been seeing this woman and had
girl.
Yes, this girl, and
he was also minor. So
okay.
So they had recorded something that they did together.
Yes, I know.
And
okay.
then showed his teammates.
Yeah. Well,
yes.
Okay. Anyways,
now I remember what. Yeah. Okay.
For me, it is up to that girl if she wants to forgive him, and if all is good there, he's young enough for a sort of redemption to be okay, as long as there isn't any issues now. There's some people that we've seen get lots of chances, and they keep being mess ups, like Tony DeAngelo, and they keep getting contracts, like Tony DeAngelo, just because of how good they are at hockey. And I don't think being good at hockey is a good enough reason to forego every single personality trait of yours. But if he can just be controversy free from now on, I don't have that much of an issue with it.
Yeah, I think you said it best, saying it's up to the girl who was involved to forgive him. And I think that everyone messes up, especially when you're younger. You do dumb stuff, and unfortunately, he was a high-profile athlete, and it got out. Like it's a good reality check for him. But he is, in my opinion, young enough to learn from this and grow as a person, and making sure that he doesn't do anything goofy again like that.
As long as he understands that what he did was wrong, and he has made amends with that person. And there's another guy that got drafted a couple years ago for racist stuff that he did when he was I
remember that
14 or 15 or something. I guess the same can be applied there. It's just that is also almost as much of a touchy subject as this. But again, it's more up to the person that was involved to decide if they want to forgive them or not. And then if they decide that they're good, then who are we to judge if they get a career or not?
Mm-hmm. All right, so let's move on past the contracts now. We have some huge news, and it all came within about an hour of each other, I'd say. So 3 very good defensemen all retired on one day. So Keith Yandel, who played for quite a few teams, Zdeno Chara, and PK Subban. So Chara, I feel like we can all agree, is a lock for the Hall of Fame. PK Subban, one of the best, if not the best, black NHL players ever. Like, huge impact. He was phenomenal on and off the ice. He was super exciting to watch. And I think that he was such a dynamic player when he played and was at his peak that he laid huge hits. He scored big goals. He was a great skater. Like, it was hard not to admire or notice him on the ice. And I think that was such an influential player as well, especially being in such a big hockey market, and everyone loved him. Like, he was just great in Montreal. And every Habs jersey I saw at the time, it was like so many of them were PK Subban, just because everyone was so in love with this guy.
So many are still PK Subban.
Yeah, so many are PK Subban.
Did this not catch you by surprise at all? His retirement?
It.
I was pretty surprised.
It was more shock.
I was shocked. Yeah.
And then I understood it. I fully expected him to be a huge media star after his career. Once his play started kind of deteriorating a little bit, like the last few years, I was actually like kind of thinking, like, what is he going to do at the end of his contract? I didn't think he was going to retire right away, but it wouldn't have surprised me if he retired even after, like, if he signed like a 1 or 2 year deal and then he retired. I don't think he was going to play that much longer regardless. I think he had done everything that he wanted to do aside win a cup.
Well, it was interesting. Apparently, there was a quote, I could be wrong, that when he had signed the big contract in Montreal, he said, "This is the last contract I'm going to sign in the NHL." And I'm sure at the time people were like, you're like 25. We'll see. And here we are, 33, retired. And, yeah, I totally agree. I can definitely see him being an anchor, a broadcaster, whatever.
He's already going on with ESPN because he already did stuff with them.
Mm-hmm.
Probably, yeah.
And
he'll be good at that stuff, though.
Yeah, and I could see him doing that for,
sure.
like, the next 30 years, 40 years, whatever it is.
For sure.
And I could see him enjoying it. And,
people might forget that he played hockey at that point, but
yeah.
And then, so Keith Yandel as well. I think Keith Yandel was probably one of the most consistent, like, point getters for defensemen for a really long time. Like, would always just get like 30 power play assists, and maybe that's a little bit of an exaggeration, but just points every night. Didn't matter what team he was on. He was always just consistent points, and it was really impressive at his Ironman streak as well. He rarely got hurt, or even if he did, he'd play through it, and like he would lose teeth and everything. So a really durable and offensively gifted player. And then, Zdeno Chara, the tallest player ever, could beat the wheels off you if he needed to. He could score big goals and do spinoramas around defensemen and go backhand shelf. I don't even understand how he did that. It's been so big. And, just played great defense and wasn't necessarily a super skilled player when he came to Ottawa, but, grew his game and worked harder than everyone else and just became this NHL superstar that dominated for 24 seasons or 20 some seasons. It was ridiculous.
Yeah, he's a Hall of Famer. Yeah.
That's the thing. There's a lot of players that you can argue into the Hall of Fame. You can't really argue him not being in the Hall of Fame. There's very little you can say to not have in the Hall of Fame because he has everything in terms of the accolades and the numbers and even longevity and cups, everything. Like he was also the captain of cup-winning team. Or one?
One.
Yeah. And he was just one of the first players that I actually liked because that was when I started watching hockey around that time, and he was on Ottawa. So he was obviously one of the more noticeable players on the ice at that time.
Yeah.
Absolutely insane.
Yeah, I liked him too.
It sucked when
I liked him a lot more than Wade Redden.
It like
rough decision.
You could see, but at the time you could definitely see where they were coming from. Like he was a more established player at the time, and Chara hadn't like reached his full potential yet, and they needed room for one. Like, yes, it was the wrong decision in long term. Like same with Heatley over Hossa, but it's we're talking about a world class player.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, no, Subban wise though, like obviously I don't think he's close to the Hall of Fame, but like for 6 years, maybe 7 years, he was one of the like my favorite players to watch, because everything with him was just so like amplified. Like even every single one of his like shots from the point, because his windup was absolutely massive. Every single crossover was huge. It was just every single thing was just amplified by him, and he scored. And he was such like he's underrated in terms of how clutch he was. Like so many big goals, and against like teams that they were competing hard against in playoffs and stuff like that, with Boston, Ottawa, etc. Like so many big goals, and he also scored some of the nicer goals like every season almost. Like when he came out of the box and just torched that Avs goalie where he came around the net. I love Subban. I don't know, and I'm really excited for his media career as well. I think like there's a severe lack of excitement sometimes with commentators and media people, and I think he's going to bring a lot of flair. So I'm excited for that.
Well, something that's kind of interesting about this like retiree group, I guess, is these are three people that I could absolutely see all staying in the game of hockey and being really good at it. I think Yandel and Subban probably in the media game. I know, like, as I'm sure most of you know, Keith Yandel's really close with Ryan Whitney, who is the one of the original people on Spittin' Chicklets, which is the biggest hockey podcast in the world, and he's hilarious, like really, really fun, entertaining, engaging guy. Totally see him getting a job in hockey, like in any facet. I think Subban's definitely media. Yandel could go either way, and then Chara absolutely probably going to work for Boston in some way, shape, or form, and maybe even be like a general manager for them.
Imagine
one day.
Chara being a coach. That'd be so intimidating. Oh my god.
You don't say no,
And
unless
he's-
you're like maybe like a Yager.
With how hardworking he was too, like that would just be a winning team regardless.
Oh, yeah,
What was that noise?
Obviously not a guarantee. I'm just saying
Yeah.
it would instill a lot of good qualities into a team that needs it.
coaching is
Chara-
another skill on its own, in my
Chara
opinion.
would be a better
Yeah.
coach for Philly than Tortorella.
Sure. Chara will probably be a better coach than Wayne Gretzky.
Damn. I don't think that was that hard because he didn't last very long. So
So something else I want to talk about just quickly is that you guys should check out us on all platforms such as Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube. Love you.
it's gonna be nice when we have sponsors.
Yeah. So next, we'll quickly go over this. I'm sure we've all watched some preseason games. Have any players in the games that you've watched disappointed you or surprised you at all? We'll start with Sufi.
Any preseason games we've watched?
Yeah.
Oh, bro. Dylan Strome. My word. Gross. He's better than Backstrom right now. Because Backstrom has a bad hit.
Backstrom's passing away.
I don't.
Bro, no, like,
I don't like reading into stuff this much in preseason.
I'm not reading into
Okay,
anything.
Leafs fan.
Yeah, Mr. Matt Murray is amazing.
Yeah, I never said that.
Yeah,
I just said he had a good game last time.
Yeah.
I just noticed it.
I'm just saying, because Strome in preseason essentially confirmed what I already knew about him, and I think that was the big thing for me. Like, it's just the qualities that he has. Like, he definitely improved his skating since when he got drafted. He's gonna bring like a different element on our power play because now we'll have someone that can actually pull the trigger on the right side, and his shot is really, really good. And it'll open some things up for Ovechkin, Oshie, Carlson, etc. And I think he's going to be a good fit on our team with whoever he plays with. So he got me excited for sure.
Omar, anyone? Have you watched any games?
Matt Murray.
I mean, yours is easy, bro. If you're talking Leafs,
Sorry?
yours is easy.
Who's impressed me?
Robertson.
Yeah, Robertson's impressed me, but I don't read into preseason.
Okay. Well, then I'll go.
You go.
So obviously watched a lot more Ottawa preseason games than anything else. The players that really stood out, some of them obvious. Shane Pinto does not miss from the right circle. Like, it's a joke. It's back across the goalie, top shelf, every time. Makes no sense. Love to see it. Alex DeBrincat, knew he was good, and something we talked about before, his play driving ability is so evident when you watch him play. He is creating stuff all over the ice, whether that's opportunities for himself or others, and just being such a small guy. He's shifty, he's strong, and is working phenomenally with Claude Giroux right now. Like, they are finding each other open all the time. Giroux wins like corner battles, throws it out to him, he skates around, finds someone open. It's fun to watch. And one that I was teasing Sophie about is Jake Sanderson already. Like, obviously, I don't think he's the best defenseman in Ottawa right now, but he, really good skater, makes smart decisions a lot of the time. Sometimes gets burnt by Nick Suzuki. We'll move past that.
That was gross.
But yeah, like Jake Sanderson already looking like an NHL veteran. Like,
Suzuki already looking like a captain.
An NHL veteran.
Me so far.
That's a big compliment. An NHL veteran.
I don't know if I'd agree with that, but
No, I'm not. No. Okay, an NHL veteran. Nikita Zaitsev's a veteran, if you want to go by that thing. But like, it looks like a guy.
Spectrum.
Looks like you don't notice him all the time
Calm.
out there. Yes.
Okay.
Like
all right.
that's just what you said you wanted. You want like a calming
Poised.
presence. Yeah.
Poised, yes.
Yeah, someone who
Yeah, but
you're not stressed.
But there's a
about having the
connotation to when you say he looks like an NHL veteran.
You're assuming good veteran.
Yeah.
puck. Yeah, you guys were assuming. I said if I meant good veteran, I'm gonna say good veteran. But he looks like he's like played regular season games already, which he's not.
Because when you're saying calm, I wouldn't put calm tag on Zaitsev.
No, I know it was just an example of.
No, I get it. I understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
And to an extent, I agree with you. Every single play he did was not amazing, though. Like you were.
No, I know, but he does make a lot of good plays.
He makes better plays than
He makes more good plays than bad plays.
Okay. Yeah. But yeah, I
Oh, and Eric Brandstrom freaking dangling around everyone. That was very fun to watch.
My thing with Sanderson right now is I don't think he's going to be. I don't think he's going to be as good as Ottawa fans are portraying him to be this season. I think he's going to be good, as good as you're probably portraying him because you're actually like sensible.
You know who I haven't been impressed with so far?
Steve's.
Ilya Samsonov.
Actually. Has he played?
He had a stupid play in the last game.
Dumb plays are a normal thing for him. Also, one thing you need to watch. I don't know if he improved this.
Drops
then,
his stick a lot.
Oh my god, it was such a frustrating thing, bro. Every game he lost his stick once at least. That's not a regular thing for a goalie.
Yeah.
And also, here, this is where he lets in a lot of goals.
Do you want to describe that? For
7 hole, 7 hole,
or just like even
under the armpits.
There you go.
All right.
For our less experienced listeners.
People
What'd
just
you
go,
do?
"Oh, I went low glove or low blocker."
Not low. No, not low glove or low blocker. Like in between the arm and your body. Yeah. I've never been scored like that in my entire life.
So he was a goalie, by the way.
Yeah.
Never gets lit up.
Oh. You know what's funny? The Nick Robertson thing that he was talking about, I was saying to you.
What?
Where he's like over aggressive on some plays?
Yeah.
That was you?
I was over aggressive.
Like where the poise thing, like where he needs to like turn it down a notch in games on certain plays. That was the same thing. You were Nick Robertson.
Am I getting called up soon?
You're still playing defense if that's what you mean.
That was just us talking about our ball hockey games. Anyways, so we are going to move on to our Central and Metro Division standings. So we'll start off with the Metro Division, which we will start right now.
At 8th place, I'm saying Philly.
At 8th place?
At 8th place, I'm having Columbus Blue Jackets.
Yeah, me too, Columbus.
Interesting. At 7th place, I have Columbus.
At 7th place, I have Philadelphia.
Philadelphia.
At 6th, I have the Islanders.
I also have the Islanders.
Yeah, Islanders.
Didn't expect that much agreements in there. No, I'm 100% honest. I didn't think you guys would be okay. 5, I have New Jersey.
I also have New Jersey.
New Jersey.
Yeah, I think I could expect that. Actually, no. 5, I have Pittsburgh.
Ooh.
Yeah.
So 4, you have New Jersey?
Yep. I just looked at my jersey.
Okay.
4, I have New Jersey.
Okay. At 4, I have the Washington Capitals.
Me too. Washington 4.
I don't think Pittsburgh is better than Washington, bro.
I mean, I feel like they've proved that multiple times.
You guys are so stuck in the past. At 3,
Even last year they did better.
Yeah.
at 3, I have Washington.
I have Pittsburgh.
Pittsburgh.
There's a trend going on here. This is where it gets annoying. Okay, 2, I have Carolina.
2, I have the Rangers.
This is where it gets really annoying for me too. But yeah, I'm gonna
You're
keep
gonna
it.
go Carolina.
I'm going
okay,
Carolina.
Yeah,
at
I knew
2.
it.
No, not Carolina. I'm going New Jersey at 2. I mean Rangers at 2. Sorry.
Yeah. So what he said.
Yes.
Okay,
And Carolina at 1 for me.
I'm saying Rangers.
Carolina at 1 for me too. But I did say that they were my way too early Stanley Cup potential. So I do think Carolina is still gonna be ahead of them. Yeah.
I mean, that's fair. I feel like, yeah, obviously Omar and I have just agreed with each other on many things. But I mean, it is hard to say because, like, I feel like Philadelphia has a lot of talent still. Like, I'm not saying they're going to make the playoffs, but like, it's a tough division for sure because I feel like a lot of teams could surprise or underperform than what people are thinking.
Philly's defense
With this
is
division, for
horrible.
me, in terms of its bottom feeders, like if I go from Islanders to Philly, so Islanders, Columbus, New Jersey, and Philly, for me, it's literally like up in the air. Like I honestly don't
it
know.
could be any order.
Yeah, I honestly don't know. So that's why like my bottom,
Actually-
I don't know. I don't know how I feel about any of those teams.
All right, and let's move on to the Central Division now. So I think this division has some more obvious bottom feeders, but the people who do make the playoffs, it's a little more cutthroat. Like there are some people where, like I think Winnipeg, St. Louis, Nashville, Minnesota, Dallas, Colorado all have a chance of making the playoffs. Some, like I heard people talk about, I have no idea where Dallas is going to finish. I have no idea where Winnipeg's going to finish. I know that may be more of a me thing, but
That
they
is
still have
definitely
really
you
good
thing.
players on the team. So we'll see how it works out. But yeah, we'll go in order from Sufi to me to Omar and go from bottom to top.
This may be surprising. I'm putting Chicago last. I think they are the only team that's extremely active in the act of trying to lose. I think Arizona is even trying a little harder than them. So yeah, Chicago 8.
See, this is tough for me because I think I agree with you in the sense of
I do want to say that I think that Patrick Kane's going to be gone very early in the season. That's also what's factoring into that.
Ooh, that's a hot take.
I don't know about that. I think that most people are,
Yeah.
in agreement on that.
I think if you're bad now, you're going to commit to it because you have Connor Bedard coming up. So I think both of them are going to be bad.
Yeah.
And I
competition
think
for bad.
Arizona will edge them out, I think, just because they have like Zach Cassian probably in their top 6 somehow. Like,
Oh yeah.
a competitor for sure.
Can we just do something fun here? I want to compare what their projected top 6s are.
All right.
And
So
then-
I'm gonna go Arizona last. And
Yeah, I
we'll
also
go
have,
Omar and when Sufi has that ready.
I also still have Arizona last, although I wouldn't be surprised to see Chicago last. But I've just it could be either or. But I've just put for my list. I've got Arizona last.
If
Mhm.
Kane stays, they might, in my eyes, they might finish 5 points ahead of Arizona, and that's pretty much what I'm giving them. If Kane doesn't stay, I think that they are going to have one of the worst seasons that we've ever seen.
But your official prediction is Chicago last, right?
Because I do think that he's going to get traded.
Okay.
Anyways, I have Arizona 7.
Then I have Chicago.
Me too, Chicago.
Are you ready for this?
All right. Thanks for the intermission, guys. We'll let you know what these lines are and then get right back to it.
Athanasiou, Domi, Kane, Radish, Taves, Johnson. Imagine take Kane out of the top 6. That's Athanasiou, Domi, Blackwell, Radish, Taves, and Johnson. Arizona. Intermission
I
part
don't
2.
know if it's gonna be that much better.
Keller, Travis Boyd, Nick Schmaltz. It's just funny because Keller and Schmaltz are good. Travis Boyd.
Travis Boyd.
Who barely made the Toronto lineup,
Yeah.
by the way.
Richie, Barrett Hayton, and Zach Cassian.
I'm still going Arizona last.
Yeah. I think Chicago's top 6 is better.
Yeah.
At least right now.
With or without Kate, I think.
I think.
And
don't know.
Dylan Mayo, or Dennis Mayo, whatever the heck his name is on the first pair with Gossespierre,
Goss's
who got
beer.
picked up by nobody on the waivers.
Bro, Goss's beer was amazing last season.
No, I understand,
Yeah.
but these are... Yes. Anyways.
Realistically, they're both going to be horrible. They might tie for last.
Okay.
At 6, I have Winnipeg.
I have Dallas. Remember what my hot take was?
Yeah.
I'm sticking with it.
Oh, well, yeah, you're not going to have them there.
I'm going Nashville.
Fair enough. 5, I'm going to have... At 5, I'll have Nashville.
I will also have Nashville.
I put Winnipeg 5.
I'll have Dallas at 4.
Oh, interesting. Whew, this is tough.
This is where it gets
So
dicey.
I have Arizona last, Chicago second last.
Don't you have to
Dallas
have
third
Winnipeg in
last.
your...
Yeah, I said positional. So, honestly, this is like Sufi's second favorite team, just like all the other ones. I am not sold on Minnesota being that good. Like, they've been good for a
Can you
little
give me
bit.
a reasoning behind that? Is it literally just you don't like their centers?
Their centers aren't very good. I think, like, they're...
No, their centers are good. They're just not... They don't have, like, a first-line center. They have 2 second-line centers, a third-line center, and a fourth-line center.
The question isn't if you see Minnesota being that good. The question is who do you see being better?
Evidently, the teams I haven't named.
Yeah.
No, you see St. Louis being better?
Yeah.
No,
Well, that's
interesting.
Doesn't
thing.
St. Louis beat them every year in the playoffs?
Oh, well, yeah, no, I would have St. Louis ahead of them.
Mhm.
Regardless, okay, we're getting off track here.
Yeah, anyways, just quickly. Like, Minnesota, I think, aging goaltender, still good goaltender. I love Marc-Andre Fleury. And then if he were to have an injury, it's Philip Gustafson is the
And,
starter?
yeah, it'd be Gustafson, Wallstead, 2 young.
Yeah,
youngins.
really young, inexperienced goaltenders. Defense core, I think, decent, very solid.
That's like a top 6 defensive core, whereas Winnipeg's is like bottom 5. That's where the big discrepancy is, because that defense made their goalies' numbers what they are, not the other way around.
Well, we'll see. And yeah, I'm just not. So I wouldn't like. I think they'll make the playoffs, but do I see them go anywhere with it? Probably not.
So wait, who do you have at 4?
Sota.
Minnesota. Okay, I have Dallas at 4.
Okay. I have Minnesota at 3.
Jets Nation, let's ride.
You actually think they're doing top 3?
That was my hot take.
That was your
Pay
idea.
attention.
Yeah.
And Pierre-Luc Dubois.
Ugh,
Jets Nation, let's ride.
the most overrated player.
The most. The most. Toronto overrates like 90% of the players on their team.
They go in like a full cycle, because Tavares got so overrated that now he's underrated. Still overpaid,
Yes.
but now he's underrated.
I'm struggling with the top 3. I mean, I'm struggling with 2 and 3.
I just like Winnipeg.
I think I have a hot take.
But I'm going. Yeah, you know, I'm gonna go St. Louis 3rd.
At number 2,
Colorado.
I have St. Louis.
Okay. That was your...
I was gonna do a hot take, and then I thought about it. Actually, yeah, no, I'll go then. Yeah,
I'll have St. Louis too.
Minnesota 2.
Colorado.
Colorado.
The reason I'm more iffy about Colorado is I don't like their goaltending at all.
And missing Kadri now. I like Ken Newhook take that over.
Ken Newhook could take that over. They're going to be missing Landeskog for a little bit. They're still deep enough where I don't think it's going to be
I
that
mean, the
as
defense
much of
core
an
is
issue.
ridiculous.
That's where I got swayed, because I think Like Kemper was really good last year, but even if he was a 900 save percentage goalie and not a 920 save percentage goalie like he was, I think they still would have finished first in their division. And I honestly don't see Georgiev being above even like a 9.
Georgiev?
Yeah, I don't like him very much. He got because he got punched by Tony D'Angelo, so now I automatically don't like those players.
He got punched by him. Wouldn't you like?
Yeah, what?
He touched Tony D'Angelo. Anyways, bro, Tony D'Angelo's burner's coming right after me now. Regardless, I just don't. I honestly don't think Georgiev's gonna be the outright starter anyway. Like I think Francouz is gonna get a decent amount of playing time, and he's pretty good. So, but regardless, I don't see them not finishing first because that decor, as he said, is
unreal.
They have 2 players, I would say, that are top 10 defensemen, and they have the best defenseman in that as well as their first pair.
Yeah, Eric Johnson.
Yeah.
Doing missionary with Nathan McKinnon on the ice right after winning.
Okay then.
You didn't see that picture or video?
No.
Like right after they they won the cup. They were like hugging on the ground, but then Eric Johnson went on Spittin' Chicklets, and he was like, "We saw you were having an intimate moment with Nathan McKinnon on the ice. What were you guys saying?" He's like, "Yeah, it looked like I was." Having a great time with Nathan on the ice, eh?
I will say, though, St. Louis is a sick team.
They do.
Bro, their depth on
Logan
forwards
Brown?
is insane.
Wow.
Their depth on forwards is insane. Logan Brown was also scoring far too much after leaving.
Preseason?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, no, after leaving Ottawa. When he was on St. Louis last year, he scored like his first however many games. And then their decor, really good. The only real issue with them is I have no idea what to expect from Bennington.
Could be like a Vezina finalist, or like we're looking for another Billy. So
his regular season was horrendous, and then his playoffs was amazing. So if he can finish somewhere in between that, I think they're going to be very, very good. And I think they can challenge for first place.
All right. Well, that's our Central Division rankings done. So we will now tease our interview. So in the next little bit, we are going to be interviewing someone who has worked for TSN on radio shows. We have someone who writes articles for The Athletic, someone who is a university professor, and also now works for, I believe, CTV Ottawa. Ian Mendez.
He's also the coach of his daughter's ringette team. That's what he wrote in that email.
Yeah.
Yep. So does it all, really. A man of a million jobs, and I really haven't met anyone who has a bad word about him. Like, just someone we all look up to as, Sufi, I know, loves to write articles. Someone like myself being a huge Sens fan, someone he's covered for so long, and I think is very honest about the team. And, we are really, really looking forward to having him on the show. And, please tune in to when we have him on, and we'll have a really good chat with him.
Yep.
All right. It's time.
Head-to-head.
It's time. So, this head-to-head, I think I may be in the minority again. But I do truly believe this. Which player do you think is better?
Right now?
Yeah.
Right now?
Yeah. William Nylander or Patrick Laine?
Oh.
So I'll go first.
This one's a no-brainer for me.
So I'll go first. So I think that both players are very gifted offensive players. I think Laine, especially last year, had a lot less to play with and was still point per game. I think Nylander was also point per game, and has really come into his own over the past couple of years offensively and stuff. But I think someone who's able to be point per game on Columbus and now being able to play with someone like Gaudreau, who I'm not going to say made other people 40 goal scorers, but was definitely the guy on that line. So him playing with Gaudreau and another passer in Voracek. I know I'm comparing their seasons this year, but I guess they wouldn't be a line, but maybe on power play or something.
Jenner.
Yeah. or Kent Johnson or something. I think for me, Laine is a bit bigger, has a better shot, and I think
Doesn't use his
can
size
make
at all.
more on his own. Not by a lot. I think it's really close. But I think I would go Laine on this one. I'll go to Omar because I think I know what he'll pick, and I'd love to hear your reasoning to why.
What makes you say that he can make more on his own? I don't think he's shown that in his career.
Yeah.
I said barely.
No,
I think them creating stuff for them. I think Laine is really good at like finding the what's the thing they call, like, the soft spots,
Yeah.
and not necessarily making to play with the puck, but without the puck to make space for his line mates, etc. And I think that he uses his size really well. He obviously has a world-class shot. Like, if this year he scored 50 goals with Gaudreau, wouldn't surprise me.
The only part of his game that I would rate better than Nylander is his shot. It's literally the only part. Literally the only part.
Okay, and then
Because
tell me.
What
I think Sufi's still figuring it out.
I don't see.
I agree with Omer, but I have to gather all the stats in my head. Yeah.
His he doesn't use his size to any greater advantage that I see when I watch him play. His skating is mediocre at best. And Nylander's a pretty good skater. His shot is his strong suit, and he hasn't scored like he did in season 1 and 2 in a long time. I mean, what's there to like? What in what area of his game, apart from his shot, would you still consider him better?
I think Nylander, I agree with it, is a better passer and skater. I think Laine is a very underrated skater. I think he
No.
Everyone thinks, like you right now, think he's not a great skater. But you look at him multiple times a year, he will fly up the entire ice through like 3 people. He'll have a goal like that every single year. It's not like Bobby Ryan.
Bobby Ryan had a goal like that every single year
but
too.
It was because he was using his hands to dangle through people. Laine's flying past people.
No.
doing
He's
this.
using his hands.
Go look up
He's
the
using his
goal. I think he
hands.
was
Oh
scored
no,
against the Red
he
Wings.
uses his hands a lot.
He uses his hands.
Yeah. I mean,
But
even-
Bobby, no,
well,
the example I gave with Bobby Ryan was like he's like toe dragging between people like slowly. Where Laine, I think, is a lot faster than people give him credit for. I think yes, his shot is his strong suit, but I think he's a really smart player off puck. I think he's been in situations, whether they were his fault or not, like in Winnipeg and stuff, where there was a lot going on off the ice, I guess, and it still is in Winnipeg, or it's getting better. I don't know.
You know who
But I
Patrick?
think
Okay, go.
this
Sorry.
upcoming season, I think Laine is a more valuable player to his team, and I think if they were to switch spots, Laine would do better on Toronto than Nylander would.
Oh my god. Okay. Patrick Laine is like a better version of Phil Kessel.
And you love Phil Kessel.
I don't even think he is. If Phil Kessel's prime, I don't think he's better than Phil Kessel's prime.
Yeah, but okay. He is Nylander's. Laine is terrible defensively. His skating is. His skating is way worse than Nylander's. And if he used his size to any advantage, I'd give that to you, but he doesn't.
Can I come in here?
Yeah.
Because I think as a Leafs fan, anything you say sounds biased. The problem is, I do agree with you, probably to a lesser extent than what you're saying. I think you're going on the extreme end of things. Even if he's like an average skater with the ability to skate better, I don't really care that much. I don't think that Laine is someone that really needs to use his speed as much as other players to be successful. I think that your view of him is a little skewed in the sense that I don't think he gets to places as much to score. I think he is just very good at scoring from the outside, and he just goes.
If that's
there.
his spot,
But-
he got to it.
or
Which is very Kessel-esque, by the way.
And the thing is, for me, the way I analyze these players is first I look at what they can't do because they both have very similar inconsistencies. Neither goes into corners. Neither goes into corners.
Which
There's
is
video
worse.
evidence of Nylander
Yeah,
not going into the
but
corners.
that fact itself is worse for Laine.
But Laine definitely has video evidence. No one's seen it. 'cause
Laine's
he doesn't
like
play on Toronto.
Rantanen though. He's big, but he
Oh.
doesn't. No. I'm not saying they're the same skill level. Don't take it like that.
Okay.
I'm saying they're both really big players. But they don't.
Rantanen uses his size to protect the puck and everything. Like
No,
Laine
but
doesn't
my
do that
point
at
being,
all.
they don't have to, like you just said.
Okay, but that's what I'm saying. Like I can't even put that in my head because they're not even close in my head.
Oh my gosh!
Regardless, but
you can't compare players that aren't close in skill level.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, but the thing is, like Rantanen, you can say he doesn't need to use his size, but I think that the reason he is successful is because he uses his size. Neither player hits. You can say that, but I don't think that Rantanen has ever had a point where he didn't use his size.
Wait, no. Oh, never mind. I was gonna say, didn't Laine flatten McCabe, but it was the other way around.
Yeah. Regardless, I think there's a lot more advantages to Nylander's game. If we're just talking offensive play driving, this isn't close. Like Laine doesn't drive offense at all, and defensively,
56 points, 56 games.
That doesn't-
And who
points-
was he playing
points,
with?
Points doesn't mean you drive
He
offense.
don't drive
Roslovic
offense.
and freaking
Bjorkstrand. Bjorkstrand was the one that drove play on that.
Kessel
on
didn't
that
even
line.
drive offense, man.
Yeah. The thing is, like, in terms of that, this
Kessel did not drive offense.
He didn't
No.
drive it, no.
no, he didn't drive offense.
No.
You confuse scoring points and driving offense. Those aren't the same.
No. Okay, you're telling me Phil Kessel firing across seam or off of freaking JVR isn't creating scoring.
That's crazy.
No.
Scoring chances, but like, Laine,
He's a good finisher.
yeah,
He's a good finisher.
And the thing
Yeah.
is, Laine can create scoring chances here and there, like by himself, in terms of just dangling or whatever. But in terms of just overall gameplay, he's not driving offense. That's everyone else on his line that was doing that. Whereas Nylander on his line, whoever it is, he's the one that's driving the play, and he's the one.
More so than
That's-
Tavares.
That's yes, way more than Tavares. Yes.
what?
well,
Well, I don't know, but
Nylander drives.
This is
Who has the $11 million contract?
don't even give me that right
no.
now.
Okay, look.
And like
Look at. It's like, okay. Let's even take this into
Do
another.
you guys think Nylander's better than Tavares?
Nylander better than Tavares.
I don't think they're as far off anymore as
Nylander is not
Yeah.
as responsible as Tavares.
That's not my question.
yeah.
Tavares is better in certain situations than
question.
Nylander. But if you're telling me right now who drives offense better,
No, that wasn't my question. I said who's better.
Well, Tavares
Do you
is
think
Tavares-
Nylander's better than Tavares?
Tavares is better defensively than Nylander.
That's not what I'm
Yes.
asking.
So overall, he'll be a better.
overall
player.
Tavares is still better because Tavares produces around the same
But
thing
that's
as
not the
Nylander.
question, right? Like
But
the
yeah.
thing is, if Laine was on Tavares' line, I would say Tavares is outright better. Like not even.
Oh yeah.
But you haven't seen them play together.
You're telling me that Laine is better because
You're telling
you
me that
switch-
Nylander didn't get a whole ton more points because he's playing with way better teammates?
No. But as
You
I,
think if
as I've said,
Nylander was
as
on
I've said,
Columbus
as I,
last year,
as
he's
I,
point
as
per
I've said with DeBrincat and Kane, I don't think that DeBrincat is the. I don't think Kane is the reason that DeBrincat scored all those goals.
And I agreed.
And that's the same for me with Nylander and Tavares. I don't think Nylander scoring as many points as he does is attributed to Tavares as much as, as much more as like DeBrincat and Kane.
But do you not think the second highest scoring team and offensively gifted team in the league doesn't help?
It helps for sure, but the thing is, like, your point is that Laine drives offense to a similar or better rate than Nylander.
I did not say better. I said it was close.
But regardless, through any metric that I can pull up, which I don't really want to right now because it'll take me a while and we'll have another intermission, Bjorkstrand is the one that drove play on that line. Way more than Laine. And Laine was actually near the bottom ever since he pretty much came into the NHL at driving offense.
Okay.
Driving
Laine-
offense is when
okay,
you
Laine's-
see
Laine's
Matthews or
strengths-
McDavid play.
Laine's strengths are sit at the circle, shoot with the occasional really nice goal. Well, because he has some skill with his hands. Whereas overall impact in a game, Nylander defensively is a little bit, like, not a little bit better. He's significantly better than Laine. It's not even because Nylander is good at defense. It's because Laine is extremely bad at defense. And he also has questions with his effort level as well. Whereas I don't think Nylander has as many questions. And then on offense, I don't think that Laine is creating as many chances by himself as Nylander for him and other teammates.
Okay. let me reiterate what I meant by. Okay. Maybe I use driving offense wrong. I think Laine, yes, I think will excel with someone like Gaudreau who can create and drive offense. He creates opportunities for himself and others, whatever, blah, blah, blah. Laine, I think, is someone very unique in the sense where he can kind of contribute and be a threat regardless of where he is. And I think that's a unique trait that he has that not many people possess in the NHL.
I don't know. I think Nylander is the same as well. I think Laine's assist numbers will also drop, whereas I do think his goal numbers will go up with Gaudreau because he won't have to attempt to play make as much. But I don't see him blowing out his current point totals. I think he's going to maybe finish with I can see him hitting 40 goals. I just don't see him hitting 80 plus points.
I remember when he was drafted, he was compared to Austin Matthews. And now look where he's dropped.
He's got a different type of bitterness towards this. For me,
because there was one Winnipeg reporter. No, well, after the draft, there was one Winnipeg reporter who was on TSN or whatever, and he went on this rant about how Laine is categorically better because he's better at scoring goals, and because that's the one thing everyone wants, goal scoring. So Laine is the better player, and now we're comparing him to Nylander.
Yeah. That's not. Yeah, I mean, fair enough. But
honestly, when Austin Matthews was drafted, I knew he had a good shot, but I didn't know it was like this. Like effortlessly scoring 60 goals. It looked like almost.
I guess this is just where it comes down to what I see the players as. I think I don't see Laine as more than a perimeter player, goal scorer with very little to no contributions defensively, whereas I see Nylander as a playmaking first liner that can contribute offense in terms of scoring goals himself or passing to teammates or chipping in defensively. I there's way more to Nylander's game for me than Laine.
Nylander, when he has the puck, he does stuff with it.
Most players do.
He skates with it. He makes plays with it. He has good agility. He gets around the ice really well. You know,
his agility.
He has good agility.
Digging into what he just said, because you kind of have to do that to understand it properly. He's not wrong in the sense that I'm way more scared.
In a Fortnite 1v1 would win?
Nikolai Ehlers.
Oh.
I'm way more scared when Nylander has the puck than I would be Laine coming through the neutral zone. I don't think that Laine has a lot more ghost games, because if he is shadowed hard and isn't given the space in the offensive zone, he kind of just shells
because he moves around like a slug, so it's easy to follow him.
Yeah.
Do you not think that Nylander being on the second line on a very offensively gifted team compared to Laine probably getting being on the team where he's getting the toughest matchups?
It's also hard to say with Toronto, bro. Their lines switch so much, and and even when everyone puts Bunting, Matthews, and Marner as a line, they didn't play every single minute together. There was still a point in the season where guys were moving up and down. So I don't really attribute that much to his line. It's Toronto. I think he's gonna.
Well, you were using the same scenario with Barzal playing behind Tavares.
Yeah, no, but it's different because their lines stayed the same pretty much the entire year that year. Whereas this,
but I would say the majority of the season they were together.
Regardless, I don't think, but it comes down to Nylander being a bigger contributor on his line than Laine was, which that is more the argument. I'm not comparing Nylander and Barzal.
I'm just saying.
Yeah.
If you're gonna use an argument one way, then use the other.
Well, it's also different for wingers.
You know we're right, Evan. You know Laine is not better than Nylander.
Hey, watch this season. Laine, 40-some goals.
Even if
Nylander losing in the first round.
Even if they both finish with 80 points, Nylander still contributed more because he did everything to create all of his plays.
A psychic looking into the future?
Well, no, that's what I'm saying. Even if because they basically had the same point per game rate last year, but for me, Nylander was the better player because
he contributed more to get those 80 points and create scoring chances for his team. And he also wasn't a black hole defensively, like Laine.
Right, yet again, we agree to disagree.
This is just a Sens fan. That's why you're saying it.
Yeah, he always puts on a different shirt when we talk about
I'm
Leafs or
just
Sens
trying
players.
to dress up instead of wearing the same recycled jerseys all the time, guys. Gosh.
I'm sorry we don't have the money to do so.
Well, you've talked about getting every Washington Capitals player over the past 10 years on a
Oh, it's
jersey.
coming. It's coming either this month or next month. We'll see. I kind of want to. I kind of want to
I
do
will
it.
be shocked if that happens because you've talked with me about that since high school.
I'm kind of thinking tomorrow. Wait, no. What's Friday? Friday. I get paid on Friday. I'll get a jersey. I hope my parents don't watch this. But
Whose
yeah,
jersey were you gonna get?
Tom Wilson.
Yeah, that's the one you've been talking about for a while.
Well, it's,
Connor Brown,
it's
John
it's
Carlson,
between three players:
Backstrom.
Wilson,
Get a Backstrom one. It's probably discounted.
Wilson, Brown, or Carlson.
Eric?
Most likely Carlson.
You just said Wilson. This is why it's not going to happen.
But the thing is, like, I think there's more chances of Wilson leaving at some point than Carlson. 'Cause once our team is faded into obscurity after Ovechkin retires, I think Carlson won't be that long after him, and Wilson I could see going to like Toronto or something, and it wouldn't surprise me. He'll be young enough.
All right, let's stop scraping the bottom of the barrel. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in to the 8th episode of the Unfortunate Diehards podcast. We really appreciate you tuning in. Check us out on Spotify, YouTube, and Apple Podcasts. And,
Next time we'll actually get to talk about hockey.
yeah.
Like
Yes,
hockey,
that's
hockey.
true. We'll be recapping some game ones.
Oh, game 1s, 2s, 3s. There's gonna
Yeah.
be because
Yeah.
I think the first day is on Tuesday.
True. Yeah.
All right, we shall see you then.
All right. Tune in for Ian Mendes. Don't forget that.
We don't have a date yet, so yeah.
Well,
Tune in every week until you see
Tune
him.
in until you see him. Yeah. All right, guys.
Bye.
Thank you for listening.
Bye.